Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasiewicz.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 259 of Social Chatter, my weekly live social media marketing news talk show, where we cover the latest breaking social media news each and every week. I'm joined today by my co-host, Jim Fuhs. Jim, fantastic having you on and glad to be back. I know you and I were recording some podcast episodes this week. We also, I think, hit a big milestone, but fantastic having you back. I don't know if you have anything you want to tell viewers.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's, because one of the people that helped us get there is our guest today. Launch Your Live has hit over 1,000 downloads, and our 90-day mark is actually tomorrow. So pretty exciting. Appreciate all those folks that we've had on for guest interviews. We've got some more that'll be getting released in the upcoming weeks, including one from Gage Vandentop from StreamYard, as well as Kevin Kolb. So really, really exciting episodes coming up, as well as the ones that we've done. So yeah, make sure you check out our podcast, and we'd love to get your feedback. Subscribe, review it, because the guy we're bringing on today, Chris Stone, is we've actually become, him and I, very good friends. I mean, we both live in the Atlanta area. We've been working on some hybrid events here in the area. But Chris is the owner of Cast Ahead, and he's also a podcaster and podcast producer, editor. His podcast is called Make Headway, definitely one you want to check out. And him and I actually do a little bit of collaboration. He's my partner in crime on my Amazon live show, Dealcasters Live. And Chris actually has an amazing background, amazing guy. And you'll see when we bring him on in his background, he had 27 years in Sony. Apparently, he brought all of it home with him.
Fantastic. And before we bring Chris on, I do want to just let you all know what topics we're going to be discussing this week. We're going to be talking about YouTube Shorts. If you've not jumped on the TikTok craze or version 2, which was Instagram Reels, you have a third chance, and that's going to be YouTube Shorts. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about new feature coming to Facebook Messenger called Facebook Messenger Watch Together. I actually am excited about that one because it really makes me, I like the way that it's being rolled out and what it actually can do. In addition to that, Jen, I think we have a couple other topics as well. We've got an update from Canva, actually. We don't talk about Canva very often unless it's from a design perspective, but they've got an update that I think people might find interesting. And obviously, we're going to talk to Chris as well about, podcasting, but also various forms of media and what you can and cannot create as a business, or what you should be creating. So let's go and bring on Chris. Chris, it's fantastic having you join us again for another episode of Social Chatter. Thanks a lot.
What's up, fellas? Congratulations on your milestone of downloads. That's a testament to not just the great content and the great podcast that you guys put together, but the fact that you guys have been so consistent with content. And you guys know this, being content creators for years, doing this show, doing the many shows that you guys do. It's important in podcasting. And for those of you who are thinking about doing a podcast and or have just started it and maybe have done like 5 episodes and are like, where are my downloads? Well, how come I'm not getting this, that, or the other? Stick with it. Be consistent. Continue to churn out that content just like you're doing maybe with your YouTube channel or whatever else you're doing, because eventually the lights come on and this content that you're putting out is forever. And you guys, great job so far. And that's the first of many thousands for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for your help. By the way, are we going to be getting a plaque? We've got the
yeah. I'm going to give you this Outcast one
behind you. Yeah.
I'll give you that one. And yeah, thanks for making me sound like I brought my work home on the intro there, Jim. That makes me feel great.
So while you're talking to us, I'm over here like looking in the background. I'm like, okay, so like we've got Outcast. I can't quite make out who are on the other plaques, or but Pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Background.
So I guess the ones that I like the most are the ones that end up on the wall. I've got some ones. I won't name some of the artists that I was. I mean, I worked those records. I didn't necessarily have to like them, but Outkast is back there. There's Notorious B.I.G., Goody Mob, Dungeon Family. So a lot of the hip
Very
hop stuff ended up on the wall.
That's cool, man. So we'll have to talk more about that. But I know this week we want to talk social media news. So, Jim, where do you want to start?
Well, I know you're so excited about this, but YouTube is coming out with shorts, and so it's going to be these 15-second videos. They're rolling it out in beta in India, so it's always funny when they're like, oh, this is coming. But then it's like, well, I'm not going to see it because it's in India. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I change my location to India, I get access. I'm not sure if they, but they probably know I'm not really there. But, we once again now have another form of content. Like you said, we have TikTok, and then we have Instagram Reels, and I guess in some aspects this stuff competes with stories in a different way. What I do think I like about this, because of course there was also, I know we're not going to talk about it today specifically, but Facebook has been talking about this kind of crackdown on music on videos. So the fact that YouTube's going to give you access to their music studio to do this, and it's a pretty robust studio, I think people will like this. I still think, from my perspective, that the issue with short form video on YouTube of this nature is that I still don't think we truly look at as YouTube as a place where I hang out, right? YouTube is I go watch content, consume it, and leave. And so we do forget, though, right? We can make comments, we can do live stuff, but it's like people don't really hang out on YouTube. I mean, I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm missing something. What do you think, Chris?
I think it all depends on your ideal viewer, your ideal customer. And so, YouTube obviously wants those people to hang out longer. That's the whole idea. They've set up their whole platform for content creators to be as sticky as possible, so they remain and watch as much as possible, and then they can sell ads. So I think this is for a particular type of content creator and for a particular type of viewer. Jim, probably not you. But you never know. Some of your favorite content creators could come up with some really creative stuff. And this is what I love about this kind of stuff is like TikTok has made a lot of other companies better, and so it's rising all of these ships, and they're like, well, we got to try this because this, our competition's doing this, and it's pulling people away from our platform. So yeah, it's a little copycat, but I like the idea. I really do. I like the idea of having more opportunities as a content creator. And if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a business and you're trying to target somebody that's in this demographic, you got to jump on this thing and start, testing it out and getting super creative about it.
I like this feature. I mean, it's very similar to most of the other platforms, but I think it's a little bit fresh because to your point. Okay, so you were talking about, you worked in music. So I think YouTube Shorts, when you incorporate famous people, or I'm going to say maybe not even famous people, when you incorporate musicians into this, for example, I think YouTube Shorts make a lot of sense. You incorporate cooking shows, for example, YouTube Shorts make plenty of sense. Let's see what else we have here. You have people that are doing some sort of tutorial. They can easily give you a quick, 15-second behind the scenes thing. Hey, I'm about to go hit the studio, I'm about to go record, a couple of tutorials for this week. Hope you'll, join me and watch them later on. I think also the fact, though, that when people publish content on YouTube, they're building subscribers. Now, I don't necessarily know how this is going to, fit into that part of the model, but I think that there's a lot of really good quality synergy going on here with YouTube Shorts and somebody that already has a YouTube channel with, 1,000 subscribers or even 500 subscribers. When they get Shorts, it's going to, I think, be a bit of a natural progression. And to your point, Chris, you said that if, a lot of platforms they're copying the feature, and it makes sense because people are going from their platform to someone else's. Well, YouTube already has that stickiness. And with shorts, I think that it's going to be just a natural progression for people that are making long form videos to say, hey, you know what? I don't have to go to Facebook, for example, and make short form video content now, and then also go to Twitter and make something and go here and here and here. I can do all of it actually right in YouTube, and that can be their platform they build on.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I think overall, I mean, I'm kind of, Jem, what do you think? I mean, do you think this is a useful feature? I mean, what's your take?
Well, I mean, I think it can be. I think it kind of goes back to how are you going to be able to get eyes on this? Like, how are you going to be able to market it? Like, am I going to be able to take this 15-second clip and put it on a tweet so I can get people to go back? And is it going to be part of your channel? Right. And as it is, you know, I have no idea, Chris, you might know how many channels there are, but there's only 16,000 channels that have 1 million or more subscribers.
It's something like 35 million YouTube channels.
Yeah. And so, you know, when we talk about, you know, because let's remember, most people, this has been, I think, in some aspects, the craze on TikTok. If I can get all these subscribers and get all these views, I'm going to monetize, right? We're not just doing it because it's fun. People, and from a business perspective, I'm doing this because I'm looking to monetize my brand or my business. So the question becomes, if you don't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube with your regular content, is this going to move the needle? Is YouTube going to change the parameters? Or are they still going to say, well, you still need 1,000 subscribers, you still need 4,000 hours of view time. So it's going to take a lot of 15-second views to get to 4,000.
I think a lot of businesses or a lot of companies or content creators are not necessarily looking at it from a monetization standpoint, but more of a way to, kind of to Christian's point, bait to the larger content. And you know, and I know this is you know, the overarching topic of today is the size of your video, which absolutely matters. And so I think a lot of times when we do, like today, we're doing this live show and it's going to go on for however many minutes. And when somebody sits down to watch this on the replay, it's kind of asking a lot of someone if they're watching for 30, 45 minutes or an hour. So, you know, maybe they're in, maybe they're out. So you got to create some snackable content that can drive back. You know, you see some of these videos, whether it's, you know, Joe Rogan has his Joe Rogan Clips channel. And so a lot of that has been bait to the larger platforms, to the audio podcast, to the video show. And so I look at shorts as yeah, sure, monetization is great. And certainly, to Christian's point, from a musician standpoint and from a licensing standpoint for music, it could be huge. I mean, look what, you know, TikTok did for Lil Nas X as a, you know, as just one, you know, major example. But I look at it as a way to say, hey, you know, I'm gonna put my content out there creatively and hope that drives people back into another funnel where I have something that's maybe larger for someone to enjoy and maybe buy or whatever.
And you're also going to have, you know, here's the thing. I think these are going to, I'm glad they're going to show up on the homepage. For example, on YouTube, you can use the hashtag shorts. I also found that pretty fascinating. So you can, you know, go, for example, to check out if you have the shorts feature, you open the camera and there'll be a shorts video camera there. But if you put hashtag shorts in your content, it'll actually get you access to the shorts feature, which I think will be pretty neat. You know, so people will be able to see other shorts that are being done. But I like the fact that this leads them potentially to a larger, you know, to subscribe to your regular channel. And then off of that, you've also got the merch feature. You've got the monetization feature. I mean, to me, this is almost a no-brainer. If I'm doing any sort of content on YouTube, I should probably, you know, not just try to don't ramp it up just for the sake of ramping it up, but actually focus on making sure I put good quality content out there and I optimize it properly, so it can get seen, and then YouTube might want to give me that feature. But I like this feature. I mean, I really do. Now, I haven't really used TikTok very much. Instagram Reels, you know, played around with that a little bit. I'm not sold on, you know, one particular platform. I mean, I think that I'm glad that, as Chris mentioned here, that this is pushing others to get better. You know, for example, stories didn't catch on for some reason. So shorts, I mean, very similar, but hey, they seem more fun than Facebook and Instagram stories, for example. So I think that, they better tie in potentially for a business. Now, as far as what somebody should create, I think people need to go and check out some of the content creators that they really like and see what they're doing that excites them, and then borrow some ideas there. Don't take exactly what they're doing, but borrow some things. So anything else you want to add about YouTube Shorts?
I think I'm ready to move on to the next topic. What about you,
So
Chris?
Yeah, let's roll.
So what's next, Jim?
Let's talk about this new Messenger watch feature where we can watch together. I think this is a very fascinating new rollout by Facebook. You're going to be able to take videos from Facebook Watch, which I think pretty much like even this show will go into Facebook Watch, and I can invite my friends to watch it in a Messenger group. And so I'm actually going to take a little spin on this. We are now allowed to have our Mystery Science Theater 3000. And we can sit there and comment about our video with our friends, and they can see us commenting because we're kind of watching together. So I think that's pretty interesting. A great way to build community. Maybe it's even something you do in a Patreon, right? Is use like we're going to have these Messenger watch parties for our Patreons that allow us to have a conversation with them while we're maybe watching our video.
I love that idea. So if we were to do this right now during the live show and then jump in that, would it like be like Inception? It would be us watching us, watching us, watching us, watching us, watching us. Like what would happen if we did that? Would we blow up the internet?
We might. That's a thought. Yeah.
I mean, I could say, Jim, I mean, I had the same exact thought when you were when you said, hey, I'm excited about this. And it's because every day, like your live video. So live video right now, people publish live videos and they don't always go into the watch feature. And the great thing though about this is now that content can show up in the watch feature and you can actually watch it together, do your commenting and whatnot and so forth. I think this is pretty sweet. I mean, I think it's a good way for Facebook to grow the watch platform. So Chris, what do you think?
Again, I mean, any opportunity that you can to utilize a platform creatively, as content creators, as a business, you've got to jump in all in on this kind of stuff. So yeah, I get excited about when there's an opportunity to test something out and utilize it for my clients, for myself, or whatever. So I think it's cool, and we'll give it a whirl. I still think we should do it like right now and see if the internet explodes.
You want to try? Go ahead. Do you have your phone plugged in maybe?
Will it let us watch a live video, or does it have to be something that's already
Well, I'm
finished?
saying we watch the one that we're doing right now,
Right.
and watch ourselves.
Okay, so so fortunately, I actually have the instructions pulled up right here. So you start a Messenger video call or create a Messenger room. Now, obviously, I think the first step should be let's update the Messenger app to make sure that we actually have the latest.
Oh, see, that's how they get you.
There's always a catch. Got to update things, right?
Right. These viewers are like, okay, guys, move along. Maybe we'll come back to that. I don't know, but that's that would be.
That's an idea.
Interesting test. So maybe.
Well, I'm scrolling through my. Okay, yes. So there's actually, yeah. So I have the feature. Apparently, it looks like. So, update your app. Okay. So, well, how about this? While I'm going through things, Jim, do you have your phone by chance? You could plug it in, maybe, and.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if but I think you would have to invite me to your room.
Or you could start the video. Actually, you start the Messenger video call or create a Messenger room. So you could theoretically call me on my phone and call Chris.
Okay.
So I'm opening up Messenger, not Facebook, right?
Right, Messenger.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
This is scintillating live streaming.
Wow, this is crazy. All right, so I don't know what I'm doing, but because this is the first time I've ever created a room.
Here we go.
Okay,
live explosion of the internet happening. Okay,
right.
Jim's invited.
Of course, and we're going to get all kinds of feedback probably. That's all right.
Oh, yeah.
In the room, fantastic. Okay, so Jim's room. Okay, so I'm joining Jim's room. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, I see Chris in the room here. Now the question becomes, now where do we do the watch thing?
Okay, so then it says, let me turn the volume down here real quick. Swipe up to access the menu and select watch together.
I guess I swiped up too much. It's not liking me swiping. It's when I'm swiping, it's disappearing the whole room.
So you got to grab the tab on the bottom.
So when I grab the tab, it gets smaller.
Okay, it should get larger actually. So now I see both of you up top, and mine just says share your screen for things you do together.
Oh, there we go. That's it. Link. So then it gives me a link for my room, but it's not giving me, let me see. Oh, here we go. Oh, watch together. Oh, I found it. So now I'm going to search for a video. It's thinking. So I guess if I search for social chatter, let's see if we.
Look at this inception here. Look at what's happening.
It's working. We're watching us watch ourselves. That's pretty fascinating. I'm going to screenshot this.
You definitely have to put your headphones in your phone. You're gonna, because there's definite latency there. But interesting.
So it worked. All right. So guys, I'm gonna stop the room. We gotta get back to the show.
Okay.
Okay. You want to share your screen? I mean, I don't know if you want to pull your screen up for people to see this.
Well, I can't because I'm on my phone and that's on the computer. We're not on Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, StreamYard. We'll have to talk to Gage about that new functionality for StreamYard. That would be really cool to be able to share your iPhone screen at least, or and or Android.
Yeah, I'd have to. I think if I plugged it in, it would maybe work, but I don't have it plugged into my computer.
Okay.
But that did work. But I did screenshot it, so we'll tweet that out later as a picture.
So here's the thing. Okay, so with the new Facebook Messenger Watch Together feature, just a quick recap for viewers. Go and update your Facebook Messenger app. Within the Messenger app, create a new room or a message. Invite somebody to join, and then at the bottom, you're going to have a little tiny panel that you'll swipe up on. And so don't go all the way to the bottom of your screen, but just grab the top of that panel, pull it up, and then it should have a watch together feature, and you can then add the video that you want to watch together. So pretty cool. We'll show you guys what that looks like later on.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it would work on a live video. I was thinking it was like more for stuff that was after the fact. But yeah, that was kind of crazy, Chris, watch ourselves or talk about ourselves. I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I'm in the matrix now.
It was probably more fun for us than it was for the viewers. But
so here's the thing. The Facebook Watch feature, though, is primarily, it's a way to watch live video. So, it's not just pre-recorded video. So I think it's a pretty neat little feature. And I mean, interestingly enough, how they have like watch parties. I mean, this is essentially, isn't it kind of a watch party, right?
It is. But it's more interactive, because if you think about the other watch parties, we're just sharing it and we're not seeing each other. But we were actually able to see each other while we're watching the show. Now, I don't know if we're going to have to get like an usher in there and say, "Hey, Chris, you need to be quiet while the show is playing."
Okay, so that's topic 2 for the week. Jem, you want to move on to topic 3?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Facebook, and they call it that they're improving ad performance through ad volume. So I guess we could say that less is more. So what they've come to find is that, I guess over time, you got these companies putting out just all kinds of ads, but they're really not getting their performance. So they're going to start to limit in February of next year how many ads you can run. Now, where I wasn't clear was if that number is by month or by year. But even for, say, a small business like mine, it said I can run 250 ads. Well, if that's 250 ads a year, for me personally, I think that's plenty, because I don't even know that I run one ad a month. But I know there are some people that are maybe up in arms. But you know what? I think it's a good thing in the sense that it will force people to get a little bit more disciplined about their advertising approach on Facebook. and also maybe we won't all feel like we're always being bombarded with ads. But two, what I'm more curious about to see, will the impact be, will we in a sense see the cost of running ads, even though it might still, kind of, and here's the tricky part of it. Sure, you might still be able to run an ad for $1 a day, but where the cost goes up is your reach going to be as high?
Very possible. I will say, to your point, by the way, also about the advertising side. So they've added additional text here. So advertising that is less than 100,000 in their highest spending month in the last 12 months get 250 ads per page. The medium to large size pages with 100 to a million, 100K to 100 million in their highest spending month in the last 12 months, 1,000 ads. So this seems like it's a monthly rolling process. So it seems like every single month, it's going back to, like, let's use YouTube as an example here. For people to get monetization on YouTube, they had to have 1,000 subscribers. They also had to have 4,000 hours of consecutive watch time hours. And that was a rolling process. So every month it would potentially move based on how many people were viewing their content. It seems like Facebook following suit with that, with their ad guidance here. So Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think to Jim's point, it's the intention obviously is to quantitatively get less of the the scattershot approach and get more of the sniper approach as it pertains to your advertising. And when you do something like that, you're going to get quantitatively less of stuff showing up on other people's feed, and the quality of those ads are going to go up, and therefore hopefully they're going to be able to charge people a lot more, and the ads are going to be stickier and they're going to be better. So I don't necessarily think it's probably bad news for some people, but you can't really use that scattershot approach. I've never in any type of advertising really thought that was a really good idea. Like, hit the boost button and just go and throw an amount of money behind it. You really want to just lean in. It's not terribly difficult to really, watch a few YouTube videos and figure out how to put together a decent ad and really target it to your benefit. And it really can, turn into some good performance. So I don't think this is necessarily, it's probably bad news for some people that are like, oh God, this really limits me, but it's like, be better.
And I think, and I think to your point, Chris, I think the ones that are probably, at least at the initial point, scrambling to understand what this really means is you do have, if you want to call it, some Facebook ad agencies. And so they run ads for businesses. And so maybe they don't like the fact like, hey, you're tying my hands on how many ads I can run. And they may feel in some aspect it's limiting their opportunity for revenue. But I think to your point, running ads for the sake of running ads is definitely not a good practice. And I think a lot of people don't even understand the ads ecosystem, and they think like, oh, well, I'm going to put out this ad to convert. And it's like, well, I don't even know your business or trust your business, so why would I buy from you? And then they just get frustrated. Like, I've spent all this money and nobody's buying my stuff.
Yeah, and if you're running a business, you have to build contingencies like this in it. If you're operating your entire business based on Facebook's advertising or anyone's advertising, and you're operating on their rented land for your business as an agency, then that's you have to have some other things going on and contingencies when stuff like this happens.
Definitely. And, and again, this isn't going to impact a lot of businesses. If you're an ad agency, yes, it will impact you. But again, it's a process that has to happen also over time. So for example, Facebook's giving you some advance notice here. It's not going to start till like February or summer of 2021. Now, in addition to that though, if I'm Facebook, I want to make sure that the quality of my platform is not just sound, but the fact that the types of ads that are being shown are also good quality content, or quality content in the sense of ads. I don't just want to let everybody run ads just because. And so they need to keep that, they need to constantly be adjusting what they allow pages to do, for example, because if you don't, otherwise it's a wild, wild west. Everyone's gonna do whatever the heck they want. So
Right.
I think it's a good move by them. I mean, again, you're not gonna have it happen until February of 2021 and summer of 2021. So no big deal. Or sorry, February through summer 2021. So you got some time. Okay, Jim, where are we going next?
Yeah, let's talk. We're going to stick on Facebook a little bit longer. Creator Studio they're making some updates to that. And first of all, if you haven't, if you've been under a rock somewhere, which some people have been, Facebook is rolling out a new look. Whether you like it or not, by the end of the month, you're going to be on the new Facebook. And I think actually, my friend Tim Sohn, I think he's still got the old Facebook. They haven't given it to him yet. So Tim, I don't know what you're doing, but
you know what? I can't wait for everyone to go on Facebook and complain about the new Facebook, because there's nothing I love better on my Facebook feed than to see complaints on Facebook about how their Facebook looks. I mean,
right. And so while we're talking about the rented land, so Creator Studio was part of Publishing Tools. They've separated it out. But on the bright side, what the new Creator Studio is allowing you to do is you can actually create stories for both Instagram and Facebook within Creator Studio. And I think, Chris, you even mentioned you can upload IGTV as well. So if you haven't connected your Instagram page for your business to your Facebook business page, definitely something you want to do. Not to mention, it allows you to schedule posts in there as well. So some folks have always been like, oh, I wish I could schedule Instagram. You can. It's in Creator Studio. So I think it's good in a way, because now I know where it is. Right now, I don't have to go into another menu to go to a menu. So it's kind of that evolution. So who knows? Maybe eventually you'll be able to do WhatsApp in Creator Studio. You heard that here first.
I think you'll end up with that at some point. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Overall, are you excited about? You can create stories within Creator Studio, or what do you think?
Actually, I do like that, because I think sometimes, us old guys that have to wear glasses when we're looking at small print, to have to be doing something with my thumbs. I like the idea that I can do it on the desktop, and it makes it easier. I get an idea of what it's going to look like. So yeah, I definitely think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I'll say this. I have the video pulled up here, by the way, and one thing about the video is that it's pretty bare bones, actually. You basically go into Creator Studio, you pick if you want a photo or you want, just a background. You can add some text. I didn't have a way to resize the text, which I thought was kind of interesting. I could adjust the background. I can change the font style, but there's no way I could find here to be able to drag the font and increase it. So I was wondering if it was because of the text, but it didn't seem to matter. So, what do you think? Is there any other things you'd add on stories? Are you going to be using YouTube Shorts?
Yeah. The font size thing, I haven't played around with it enough for stories, but yeah, that's kind of a big deal, is the font size thing.
Yeah.
I think as much as they can try to emulate the experience from mobile to this when you're creating something, the better. And because I think when it comes to stories and when it comes to IGTV or any of the stuff that's not just a truly native post, one of the cool things and people that do it well are the ones that are adding the tags properly, and they're using stickers, and that are using stuff that's creative and catching people's eyes to use them as bait to get them into whatever site or to click your bio for any of that kind of stuff. So I just think if it's there for just the basic sort of filler interstitial stories, it's probably not going to be worth a ton of time. That's the thing on all of this stuff. If it takes you hours to create a great Facebook story or a great Instagram story, what are you doing? Stop taking the time to do that, because the return on that investment is very, very small. So if you can do something relatively quickly, And right now, and scheduling is one of the great ways of pulling that time back for yourself. You can sit down and crank out a bunch of stuff and
Mhm.
schedule that to be peppered out. Like lately, AI is obviously great for for doing social stuff, but doesn't have that story capability. So anytime you can use a scheduler and you can just crank out a bunch of stuff, pepper it out, and be a little more targeted and tactical about it, that's time well spent. But to your point, if you can't make something creative that's going to catch people's eyes from the desktop like you can from the mobile, I don't know
Mhm.
if it's ready for prime time yet.
Right. And
Yeah.
and you also bring up a good point though too, Chris, when you talk about other tools. The one thing that I always kind of wonder in the back of my mind, because Facebook is a behemoth company. I mean, they've got the most users of anybody, is as they add these features, do they make it harder for these third-party tools to have access to their API? Because then at some point, maybe they monetize that. And so that's where, I always kind of say the dark side of the force is they're going to do away with the Agora pulses and the many chats of the world because it's kind of like they figure it out. Like some people would say Amazon has done at times. Okay, we figured out how to do this ourselves. We don't need you anymore. And they're left out in the cold. And we've seen that happen, over the last decade or so with there's lots of companies that have come and gone in the social space.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it comes back to building contingencies for your business. You can't, at any one given time, any of these companies could, flick a switch, and if that means your business is closed for that, you need to think about that kind of stuff and build some sort of contingency, around it.
Definitely. I think that's a bunch of good points there. So, Jem, I think we got one more topic. Then we're going to talk with Chris real quick. So, what's this last topic we have for the week?
So Canva, we're just talking about scheduling, has come out with a content planner. Why not get into the the scheduling competition? And so we're actually, because I happen to have the pro plan for
Yeah.
Canva, I'm going to
Well, look
screen
at
share that.
you, money bags.
Well, it's not that much. It's only about $12 a month, and of course, I'm
Premium.
like I've got the same problem as Christian. I have too many tools.
So here's
So
I'm going to pull the tweet that I had back with Canva about their content planner. Jim, let me know when you have yours ready, and we can demo this actually.
there you go. Yeah, so literally here it is. I've got my content planner, and I did do a little checking in here. So I hit the little plus sign. Now I can create a design if I wanted to, or I can choose a design I've already done. So I just kind of did a quick scroll, and so as an example, I had done this for my retirement celebration, and it'll actually let me
Yeah,
write a
Semper Fi.
caption, and I can schedule it to all these platforms: LinkedIn page, profile, Facebook page. And so then I guess it would go out at the time that I pick, and and you can see here, right? You can pick the time on the calendar.
Mhm.
So what I'm curious to see, and something maybe I'll test on a Facebook group or something, or even if it'll go to a group, but what does that caption look like when we bring it over to Facebook? Now, I will say the one thing that might be an issue is tagging, right? Because
Yep.
is it going to be have that rich tagging, or are we really just posting the photo? So it's seems pretty easy to use, and you can create a design in there. But if you create the design, you can also just go into Creator Studio and upload your design there. So um, I'm not sure that I would be necessarily jumping on the train to schedule, but for some people it might make sense.
I think Chris, good feature. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
know.
yeah, like I said before, anytime that you can do something like this and schedule your content, it is a great return on your investment of time. And so I would jump into this and try to get it to work for yourself. I'm curious though, and this is really for, and I mentioned lately as well, which is this, which has which is a fantastic tool where you can schedule multiple content, whether it's video or your podcast or whatever, and it transcribes it and then spits out hundreds of things that you can use. But you can't just let it spit it out. You have to go in as a human and try to create something that is going to pull people in. And I think the same way for each individual platform, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever, Pinterest, you can't post the same thing across all of those things. It's just they're different audiences, they're different platforms. To Jim's point, sometimes the rich tagging doesn't work. You can't put a URL in an Instagram post and have it work. You got to say link in bio, like all of those things. You can't just say, oh, look, I have one picture, I'm going to post it to 8 different platforms. It's just it's not going to, it might work for 1 or 2, but so I'd be interested on that Canva thing, Jim, and maybe is I saw where you can select your social media platforms, but can you change each one with each thing, or do you have to create like a separate post for each platform if you wanted to change up the different ones? In other words, the marine photo, if you wanted to post something different to LinkedIn and different to Facebook and different to Twitter or whatever, could you go in and change the content for that one post that goes out at the same time?
Right now, and it will actually let me. I'm playing with this in the background just to see real quick, so everyone doesn't have to see this. It is letting me, as an example, pick a Facebook group. I had to give it permission to go to my Facebook, and then I'm going to see if it'll let me pick multiple real quick here. And then
yeah, because that's the one thing about lately that I really liked, Christian, was that you can select each one of your platforms, you have Facebook and everything, and then it splits them all out individually by each platform. And so like you can go in and change whatever you're going to say on Facebook with whoever you're going to tag and whatever link. And then you go down to your LinkedIn, you go down to your, whatever, Instagram, and you can change those things. And each one of them you could then schedule. And it's kind of an easy, intuitive way of doing that. But whereas with Canva, it's just sort of like, I don't know yet.
Right. And of course, in the new Facebook, I then have to find the Canva app. So they're not making it easy to search for the app, because you have to add the app to your Facebook group. Let me go back though. Let me try it this way here. Twitter, of course, everything wants to connect. Yes, authorize app. So we'll connect to Twitter.
Christian, do you use Canva for art?
I do sometimes, yeah. So I tend to flip back and forth between the different platforms. I mean, I use Canva sometimes. Sometimes I have a designer do it. Sometimes I use Easel. It really depends on.
Yeah, I like Easel. Easel's great. Obviously for doing live streams and lower thirds and things like that. But I mean, there's a ton of people that love Canva. And a lot of podcasters, whether it's on any forums or any, Facebook groups, Canva is usually what everyone loves. I use Adobe Spark mostly for that.
It would not let me go to 2 destinations at once. So you would have to do separate scheduling on the post. So that's actually a downside, because a lot of these other platforms will let you do multiple scheduling, and you can adjust it based on your platform, but do it all at one time. So that's something that probably will.
Yeah, maybe they'll update it. I mean, this is new, and Canva's super popular. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will jump in on that.
Right.
Definitely. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a few minutes and chat with Chris about creating content. And so, Jim, I know we've got a couple questions we prepared for Chris. You want to start with those?
Yeah. So, Chris, what short form content can be useful for business?
What short form?
I should say video content. Video content. What do you think? Short form video content.
I think, I mentioned this earlier, when a lot of clients that I work with, they'll do a live show like this, or they'll do a longer sort of class or video, and they have this really cool thumbnail, and they do the whole intro thing. It's kind of like a video podcast, so to speak. and they don't, they'll complain that they don't get a ton of views, and what can we do, and all of that. And I just feel like in a lot of ways you need to take that entire thing and know that it's going to live forever. So you can, put it up on the shelf, which is your YouTube channel, but you need to create smaller, bits of content that are bait to drive people to it. And sometimes those people are not going to watch it. They're just going to watch the bait. They like the bait. I mentioned Joe Rogan and the JRE Clips channel that he does. And so what you can do is, like, this show is going to be called something, right? But there may be a clip of something that Christian, you said, and it was you started talking specifically about a particular thing, and maybe we talked about it for 3 minutes. Take that clip and get a creative keyword, pull up TubeBuddy. We love TubeBuddy, right? Pull up get that keyword, get that and create a 3-minute thing that's super clickable, that's got SEO behind it with great search terms. And all of a sudden you have this other piece of content that's a 3-minute excerpt from an hour-long video that is driving people to your channel, and you have the full link in your show notes or your metadata or whatever. So people are like, all of a sudden you're getting someone who searched for a particular topic on your YouTube channel. So I think the short form stuff, you really need to look at it from a long game perspective and say, listen, I'm not just going to walk out onto a pier with a fishing rod, right? I'm going to take a boat out into the ocean and throw a net out. And then I'm going to pull the net in, and you're going to get some boots in there, and you're going to get some garbage, and you're going to get some whatever, right? But you're going to get more fish that way than just randomly casting your rod out there. So I think from a video perspective, you have to take some shots, do some experimenting with different sizes of your video, and kind of see what resonates. But be careful not to take too much time doing that, because then you get frustrated because you're not going to see that initial return and subscribers and whatnot. So that's
that
kind
makes
of
a
the
lot
way
of
I
sense.
look at it.
Okay. So I know the second question we wanted to talk to you about relates to YouTube Shorts. If you think about it, and it's, how do you decide which format for your content? So for example, nowadays we've got standard blogs, we've got vlogs, we've got YouTube videos, we've got live videos, we've got podcasts, and now YouTube Shorts, and also TikTok and Instagram Reels. I mean, there are a lot of content options there, but how can somebody decide which format they should try and use for their content? Any recommendations there?
It really depends on what your ideal viewer, what your ideal customer is, and that demographic that's resonating, or I should say that type of content that's resonating with it. So if you're a motivational speaker for business people, and most of your ideal clients are, from the ages of 35 to 60, or something like that, your TikTok-y kind of stuff is probably not going to resonate with them. So you may want to try some of that, but what you're going to get is potential eyeballs that aren't your real ideal customer. So you're probably not, you're probably fishing in the wrong pond, so to speak. So I think if your customer is that, then, and you're a business, then you absolutely need to go all in to drive them creatively to whatever you're trying to sell, whatever your message is, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. You've got to go all in and say, hey, what are the kids doing? Like Jim said earlier, it's like, I don't know who's hanging out on YouTube, but somebody is. And if you want to get that person over to your business, you have to go all in on this thing. Because when YouTube does something, you gotta pay attention and really develop as much creative content on that new piece of software or development that they're creating.
Definitely. And I like the point you mentioned, that if somebody's going to create content, they need to think about who their audience is and make sure that the content they're creating is gonna fit who their target audience is, or their buyer persona, basically. Because like you said, I mean, TikTok is like, yeah, it's if TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels are like the new cool thing, whichever one it is, you need to make sure that's where you meet your audience where they're at.
That's right.
And it may, here's the thing, it may not be what you want to do, but the goal, in business is to make sure you're meeting your customers where they're at, that you're satisfying the needs of your customers. It's not about you. So make sure you are working on the platform that they're going to be on. So if it's YouTube Shorts, and for example, like, right now it's only available in India, then, hey, maybe it's not something I'm going to be rolling out, but maybe I need to start, asking my audience, for example, do you hang out on YouTube? Asking them potentially what kind of content they might like to see, even though you don't know what YouTube Shorts is really going to hold for you. You can start to get a baseline and start to actually build that strategy before it's actually available to you, versus, hey, great, YouTube Shorts is here. Now I have to hurry up and figure out what I actually do with this.
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. You want to jump in front whenever you can, and develop that, especially if you know that piece of that content or that type of content is for your ideal viewer, your ideal listener, your ideal customer. You want to jump in front of it. And so you want to, if you're in a particular industry, or you want to, you just want to like read the big headlines. Everyone reads the big headlines. You want to get in it. You want to hear that. You want to know the stuff before it hits the headlines.
Definitely. Jim, anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, Chris is, right on point with this. I think, it's just, you definitely need to have a plan, a strategy, just don't, it's like, oh, just let's throw out there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all about A/B testing, but don't just throw stuff out there for the sake of throwing stuff out there. And I think that's sometimes where people make mistakes, because if you're not getting engagement, you're not getting reactions. It's not necessarily the content. It could be the content, but you got to take a bigger picture. Like, are even the right people following you? How do they know that you're posting stuff? Are you being consistent? Because sure, we could go right now on Facebook and look at multiple business pages where they're posting every day, no likes, no comments, no reactions, no sharing. So it's really
no strategy.
Yeah.
There's no strategy there. Yeah. And you have to lean in, even if just a little. I think lean in just a little bit more on that, and always be looking at and evaluating your stuff, and getting feedback from the people around you. Surround yourself with people who will help you be better at what you do. And like you guys, right? When we met and you guys were taught, you guys were in a situation where you had all of this stuff going on and you wanted to do a podcast, and all you needed to do was just like 3 little things. And next thing you know, I was like, holy crap, you guys have like 30 podcasts already. Like it was incredible. And so, sometimes it's just a matter of leaning into something just a little bit more. And there's so many people, I think, right now in a lot of these spaces that say, oh, I'm just not a techie person, right? I was like, it's not that hard anymore. Like you can go to YouTube and search something, and in 5 minutes, you pretty much have an idea of what it is. And I'm like, how can you say that you're not a techie person? And just kind of use that as an excuse, right? And I think as content creators, anytime any of this stuff gets launched on these major platforms, on Instagram, on YouTube, all the stuff that we talked about, just take like what you guys have done, a few minutes. And I think I think the show is great because it's for me, I'll jump on and I'll watch, and I'll be like, how did these guys even find out about this? And I'll watch it for like 5-10 minutes, and I'll go, okay, I got the gist of it. That's not for me. Or I got the gist of it. Now I'm going to go in and use it for myself. And I think that's what's a great part about this show, is it makes things a little easier for you to lean into and be able to use it for your business. So, yeah.
Thank you. And I gotta say, I mean, like, to your point, I mean, if somebody doesn't know how to do something, you don't have to do everything at once. It's just,
Right.
Pick and choose. Like, go to the grocery store, for example. I don't buy everything at the grocery store. I just buy what I need. And,
Right.
hey, if I need to experiment with something, I don't buy the jumbo Costco sized product. I
Right.
buy the small amount, I use it, and then I determine, hey, you know what? Oh, I actually like this. I need more of it. So I buy more of it, for example. So, so now we're going to get to the third segment of the show, and that's tool time, by the way. And so that's where we're going to talk about 2 tools that we found that we think can really help you as a business. So, Jem, which tool you want to start with this week?
So let's start with the Promptsmart Pro teleprompter app. I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty cool, because I was playing around with Big View and another app, but then now that you've thrown another app in front of me, I was like, ooh, this looks pretty cool. So it's actually you can download it on your iOS, your Android. You can also put it on your computer. And so a lot of times, right, you're doing a live show, you've got a script, not necessarily word for word. You want to make sure you hit those points, but it'll allow you to actually, show the screen. So I don't know if you're going to pull it up on screen or
Actually trying to find it, actually. Surprisingly, it's not in my list, even though the tab is actually open. Do you have it by chance where I can pull it up?
let me go to the website real quick.
It's very interesting, actually. I've not ever had it where the tab doesn't actually show up within StreamYard. And that could also be maybe I have too many tabs open. I don't know. Maybe here it is.
I am a tabaholic, so I can understand that. There we go.
Okay, so this is
There we go.
Promptsmart Pro. So you want to tell viewers about this app? What does it do? I mean, why do I need
Well, it goes back to, right? You can put this on your phone. You can put a tripod, maybe at eye level where your camera's at, and now you can see your scripts. And what I like about this, I haven't tried it yet, that it follows your words and scrolls in real time. That is huge to me, because what I've noticed with some of these other apps is it just keeps scrolling. And so
Yeah.
if I am talking a little too slow or a little too fast, now I'm waiting on the word. So I like the fact that that it will actually allow you to do that. It's got, I'm downloading there's actually a Promptsmart Lite if you want to try it out. And then the Pro, I believe, is about $19.99 for a year. But, it goes back to, because I know a lot of this show is really designed for people in business, not necessarily for the average user. You got to look at these things not so much as a cost, but as an investment. And if this is going to make you do your job better, if you can't spend $20 on something like this, as I like to say sometimes, you got bigger problems.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this: I mean, the other thing this has, compared to a number of the teleprompter apps, it has the voice tracking technology, and that to me that's a key feature there. I mean, the fact that if you stop, for example, or you change, for example, your speed and things like that, or the pace, it does those adjustments for you. Now, and it also doesn't need the internet, which is actually key, because a lot of times when people try to use the app, it needs the internet to, constantly go out and check something. But in this case, it actually will work extremely well. And also, if you ad lib or go off script, it will stop and wait for you to go back on script. So that's actually pretty sweet. I've used more expensive teleprompters for a lot of live events. And, a lot of times there's somebody behind the scenes that's, controlling that scroll. They've got a little device they put in their hand where they're constantly scrolling. But this is actually pretty neat. What do you guys think? Chris, anything you want to add about this one?
Yeah, I like you said, I love the fact that it's native and that you don't have to worry about connecting, and you could use it wherever you're at, not have to necessarily jump on some laggy Wi-Fi or whatever. And yeah, I think I'll definitely use it. I think Jim knows this because we just did a commercial the other day, and like I'll use a script, but I like to go off of it. So I'd be curious, because people can tell a mile away if you're reading something, even if your eyes are on the camera, and so just because there's just an inflection that the voice has when you're reading versus when you're actually talking like I am right now, as opposed to me saying Promptsmart Promptsmart, that's hard to say. Promptsmart Pro is the market leader in mobile teleprompter software. I mean, I'm reading. So I like to kind of go off. So if this thing is, I guess, listening to me and I say something sort of in between it that isn't on it, will it catch something, or like, you see what I'm saying? So like, what if I kind of go off script, so to speak? What happens then?
Right. And that's a good point. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out, but I would even say too, where I could see this could be beneficial, as you guys know, I'm in Toastmasters. This could be very beneficial for folks in Toastmasters. A lot of times they're trying to, remember things that when they could do things in person a little easier. Well, now maybe this helps them. So I think, to your point, Chris, a lot of times we just want more of an outline, not necessarily a word for word speech. So I'll definitely play with this. I think definitely interested in this.
And you get a 7-day trial. So keep that in mind. There's a 7-day trial. In addition to that, they offer different versions of the Promptsmart Pro software. So there's Promptsmart Pro available for iOS and Android. There's Promptsmart ESP for Spanish, Promptsmart Lite, which Jem mentioned. Now this one looks like it's only available for iOS and not for Android, but I actually do think the Android app might have a trial within the app. So like you could download it for free and use it. And then there's the Studio Edition as well for, managing your content and pushing scripts to external monitors. So that's where, if you're doing like a very high-end production and you're all in the same place, for example, typically for a live event, work great for that. But if you're somebody at home now doing this is where like having a tablet would be very useful. So I like this. I really like this app. I mean, I'm looking forward to trying it. I know there's a lot of other teleprompter apps out there, but this one's pretty cool.
Did I see that they're also selling lighting and lavalier mics as well? Was that on that page? I was like, wow, that's bold. Or is that somebody else's they're getting an affiliate for?
So actually, what they're doing, it looks like they're doing a bit of a partnership there. So it links off a Tumblr post about toolkit lighting concepts. Tumblr, wow, nobody
That's
really
smart.
said that.
I mean, it's smart to to upsell it, because if somebody is on there trying to get that particular app and upgrade, their chances are they need lighting and they need maybe a camera and a microphone for that. So that's kind of a all-in-one little bundle opportunity for them.
Yeah, and this could be a really good tool for you as well if you're like doing a YouTube video or something like that where you're recording it, and you do want to make sure that you hit all your key points. Right now, you can put it in a place that you're able to keep, to your point, Chris, your eyes in the right spot and maybe not look as much as if you're looking away. So I think definitely something to check out.
And so the second tool that we have this week is called Blackhole. Now, this app is primarily geared towards people who want to route audio. And a lot of times, I mean, Chris, I don't know if you want to speak to this. I mean, how complicated audio can be to route. But Blackhole basically is, it's a free download and it lets you route the audio between various apps. However, you don't have to have all the equipment to do this. It does it all virtually. So pretty neat, pretty cool here. It's also a free download as well. But what do you guys think about this one?
I actually tried to download it and couldn't get it to work. I know it only works on Mac Catalina. I know there's a Windows download, but on my Mac I do have Catalina, and I couldn't. Once you put in your email and then it gives you a link to download it, I couldn't get it to work on my side. So I haven't been able to test through it. But as I understand it, it's like Loopback and Audio Hijack, in terms of being able to route whatever, not just necessarily audio, but it's mostly used for that. So like in this case, if you wanted some background music on this show, you could do that. You could basically route your native Spotify app or something like that, and even pull up some royalty-free music, because you would definitely need to pull up some royalty-free music if you go live, or you're going to get yanked. And so I think I use Loopback and Audio Hijack, but I will say it is not easy. If you're someone who's not hasn't done audio engineering of any way, shape, or form, not just basic, whatever. You really have to understand how things are routed. It's not super intuitive and easy software because it's a complicated process. And so I'd be interested on Blackhole. I mean, I don't know why it's not working for me. I tried to download that thing. Were you able to use it at all, Christian?
I was able to get it downloaded and installed. I also use Loopback as well. Look at this one though, as this, I mean, I think the software, it works, it's not 100% intuitive for somebody who's not really a techie person. I think that overall, if you're looking to save a few bucks, that's where I think it could be very useful. Overall from an audio perspective. Because I mean, Loopback, for example, we've talked about before, it's a pretty pricey product. I think it's what, 60, 70 bucks maybe, something to that effect. So, but yeah,
some people swear by it, and a lot of podcasters use Loopback to record and route their audio right into their DAW, right into Logic Pro X, or right into whatever they're using, and they can route it right in there. And then when the show's over, they basically have all the audio that, and if they use Skype for their interview or whatever, they can route it right directly into their workstation, which that's nice. But for me, I'd much rather have not be so reliant, I think, on software.
So so do you think people should basically make the purchase? Do you think they should, make the investment in, having all of that equipment? I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, small to medium business, a lot of times people are doing things on a shoestring budget. Do you think they should try the virtual audio route, or should they actually make the investment in equipment?
I guess it depends. I certainly don't think that someone should invest a ton of money in equipment unless they know that this is something they're going to stick with for a while. And if you're going to do a podcast and you know what you're doing, for instance, it's not that expensive to get a decent mic for $50 and wire that into your computer. You get a USB mic and you can plug it right in, and there's free software like Audacity and stuff like that. So this kind of stuff, the audio routing stuff, I think is for next level, is sort of like, or if you have a specific show where you would need to route music into it while it's happening live, because music you can add later on any software, free software like Audacity. You can drag it in and do whatever. But I've seen this used, or I should say Loopback and Audio Hijack used on live shows where, like we're doing right here, and then they've got just some vibey music going on, like you're in a lounge, and it's kind of cool and it works. But if you need that and you think it would enhance your show, then absolutely, I would say do it for sure.
Definitely. And again, I mean, to that point, I mean, if it's for live video, it's something, Jim and I, we've talked about this quite a bit. I mean, we're sort of old school, I guess, in the sense that we like process, but people, a lot of times they want to make their show like this fantastic looking show right from the start before they've actually focused on the content and getting an audience and getting the replay viewers and things like that. And while it's very easy to get the audio routed, your show doesn't necessarily need that. I mean, I think the key thing is like, hey, you're not getting people, like if you're not getting replay viewers and you're not getting a few people to tune in live, then adding, a fantastic like soundtrack to the background is not going to improve things. You need to focus more on the marketing aspect, getting the word out there about my, show and things like that, doing some working, things that are going to help move the needle, I think. But again, Blackhole, I mean, there's lots of other options as well. Blackhole, Loopback, I think Sound Siphon, we've talked about all of these on Social Chatter as well, but all good tools. Okay, so that's going to do it for episode 259 of Social Chatter.
Man,
getting up there. So I want to say
vets in literally in the case of Jim, he's literally a veteran. But
again, it's something you enjoy. I mean, 259, big deal. I mean, I enjoy it. I always find shortcuts here and there every week as I'm creating all of the information and pulling everything together for the show. But again, couldn't do it without, both of you as well. I mean, Chris, thanks for bringing all of your knowledge to the show and always preparing and whatnot. And Jim, as usual, thanks a lot as well for helping me move things along. So Chris, if people want to get in touch with you, by the way, what's the best way for them to do that?
You could find me at castahead.net, and then all my stuff is there. That's the easiest way.
Fantastic. So if you want to get in touch with Chris, castahead.net. And Jim, how can people get in touch with you?
For me right now, the easiest way is LinkedIn. Look for me, Jim Fuhs, or Twitter. Those are probably the two places I'm most active. And so if we're connected, you can obviously message me, and definitely we'll get back to you.
Fantastic. So
don't forget about Launch Your Live. You can also find us out there. Download that podcast.
Definitely. And so I'm going to drop the link, for Jim, here's how to get in touch with Jim. And by the way, if you happen to have that podcast link handy, feel free to throw it in the comments. That way viewers can learn more about it. Just a couple of heads up, a couple of quick notes, actually. Sorry. We're going to have a blog post recap. It's going to go out this weekend, socialchefs.com/SC259. There's also the podcast and the Alexa flash briefing as well. So if you don't want to watch the whole show, you can check out, for example, the flash briefing. It might be a whole whopping maybe 7 to 10 minutes. We don't go as in depth on things, but hey, we give you the highlights. And then lastly, we're going to be joined next Thursday by Jamie Cohen. That's going to be September 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think I got that right. But we're going to have her joining us. We've had her on before, always a fun guest. And we're going to be broadcasting primarily on youtube.com/socialchefs or facebook.com/socialchefs. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we will see you all on a future episode, which will be next week. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.